Hello everyone, my name is Ben Holmes. I'm the founder and CEO of Nanochon, and we are a company that's developing a new type of implant for treating knee injuries. So currently in orthopedics, if you are a patient that's suffering from chronic damage to your knee and you're over the age of 55, there's a fairly standard solution for treating your problem, and that is the total joint replacement. It's a solution that is not without its problems, but for the most part, it's pretty tried and true. The surgeons that use it are very comfortable with the outcomes, and they know how to fit it into the working hospital economics and reimbursement schemes. However, if you're a patient under the age of 55, and that's roughly 1 million people in the US every year, you cannot get a total joint replacement. And that means that these patients are confined to a number of, frankly, highly ineffective or very difficult to administer treatments. And that's where we see Nanochon fitting in. We have an implantable medical device, which is based on a proprietary material as well as a 3D printed structure, which looks like the rendering you see here. It is essentially a porous patch, which is designed to lay over the bone and fill in areas of damaged surface cartilage in the knee. And the device itself has a couple unique features. One is that the material itself has an inherent micro and nano porosity. The material actually has mechanical properties that are similar to cartilage, and it also interacts with water in a similar way to natural cartilage tissue. And this means that the device actually has a functional ability to replace cartilage. So we project very fast recovery for patients. In addition, that microstructure of the material combined with a larger 3D printed mesh structure allows this device to very rapidly recruit stem cells from inside the body. Those cells then interact with the material, and there's a long-term therapeutic benefit where healthy cartilage actually grows into this device and integrates. And that is why we project incredible longevity, especially when the current treatments last for only several years. We've tested this device in several different animal models. Most recently was in a goat. You can see the results here. Our device is the panel on the top, and then below it is a comparison to a clinical standard treatment. And we really learned two things from this study. One is that our device grows cartilage of an incredibly high quality. It has the right cartilage markers, the right extracellular matrix contents, and also integrates properly with the surrounding healthy tissue. The other thing we learned from this study was that our device has incredible speed. We saw almost complete recovery of surface cartilage in under 4 months, whereas the clinical standards still take 8 to 12 months to repair that cartilage surface. And so what explicitly are those clinical standards? The first one is microfracture surgery, which a lot of people are familiar with. I'm sure there are some people in this room who've had that. Essentially, a surgeon will go in, clear out the damaged cartilage, and then drill little holes in the bone that allow stem cells to migrate into the space. They don't form a functional tissue, but rather they form a soft scar. If you were repaving a road, this would be like just filling the pothole with asphalt. The big problem with this is long recovery time, 8 to 12 months, and there really isn't a long-term clinical benefit. The average patient has to come back within 12 to 18 months because that scar tissue breaks down. When you start to get into the more involved types of treatments, there are cadaver grafting options where they literally take living tissue from an allogeneic source. The big problem with this is time. It takes anywhere from 6 to 12 months to source a graft, so they're just not reaching the volume of patients that need them. In response to that, some of the medical device companies and pharma companies have tried to develop living cell-based implants where essentially stem cells or donor cells are cultured on some type of biomaterial and that is sent to the clinic. The big problem with those is cost. And that's a problem because the majority of patients that need these types of treatments are not over 55 or retired or on Medicare. They actually are still in the private payer system. So if you have a device which costs $50,000, but private payers are not going to reimburse it, this is onerous to most patients. And so these products, again, are not reaching the people that need them. And these are some of the specific products. Again, they have all the problems I discussed. In the case of something like Nanochon, we are a fully manufactured widget, can be off the shelf, manufactured for a relatively low cost, and sold for a relatively low cost, but at a high margin. And I'll talk about that in a little bit more detail later. So I want to talk a little bit about the history of this as a product. the technology comes out of academia, but really the product has been developed and the company has been built with constant contact and input from the clinical community, both through very active customer discovery as well as active collaboration with clinicians. And really they all say the same thing. From a clinical standpoint in sports medicine, there is no gold standard for cartilage resurfacing. From a logistical standpoint, they need something that's off the shelf and can be used as needed, as opposed to something where they have to wait months or up to a year to treat their patients. And in general, they do need something that is going to be friendly to the payer systems that their patients are in, because then that will allow them to really access a greater number of people with the treatment. And so I also want to talk about the economic benefits of Nanochon to the providers and the payer system. I've touched on this a couple times now. The fact that the device is low cost, we want to offer it for around $3,000 compared to the $10,000 to $50,000 price tag of the cell-based therapies. And again, this means one, it can be affordable for clinics to actually purchase them like a commodity product. And then also that is a price point which has been tested before in the market. And is something that the surgeons can know that their patients will be able to get these reimbursed, so they'll be able to actually use this product on their patients. Also, just in general, something that's off the product means that patients can be treated much, much quicker, so there's an opportunity to bring patients through the clinic much faster. And then in terms of the payer side, reducing the acute cost to patients would be a huge plus for them. And just very quickly to talk about reimbursement, sports medicine, unlike joint replacements, is not a bundled procedure. Basically, surgeons are still using a number of a la carte costs to reimburse for the whole procedure. And so we would just see ourselves as an additional code, an additional additive cost. So we're not threatening those existing revenue streams, but then at the same time, we're not adding an enormous cost to the payer. And to discuss the market based on that price point, we are looking at a $1 billion target market for just the knee resurfacing. If you look at moving into other joints and potentially other areas of orthopedics where soft tissue reconstruction is needed, we could go all the way up to a $10 billion total potential for the technology. And again, talking specifically about the knee resurfacing, we're looking to target around 371,000 patients annually. To put things into context, all of the competing graft and cell-based products combined are reaching less than 6,000 patients a year. To talk about the company and myself, again, I am the CEO and the founder. I come from a scientific background, but I've had a lot of experience in the medical device world. I've helped commercialize another medical device product. I've also raised all the money for the company to date and gone through several programs like Mass Challenge, NSF iCore, and I'm also a JLabs resident. My co-founder, Nathan Costro, is a highly decorated researcher in his own right and has participated in a clinical trial for a 3D printed product. And then we have a strong team of executives from finance, business development and marketing, product development, clinical implementation, as well as in-house legal in the orthopedics and life science space. And we also have a KOL board, which we're very proud of. All these guys are rock stars, you know the drill, pro athletic teams, collegiate teams, as well as KOLs from major companies. So our current raise, we're looking to bring in $3.5 million. This is primarily going to go to a first-in-human study. We also plan on building clinical scale manufacturing and continuing to grow our patent portfolio. And longer term, this is a PMA product. So we are looking to do an additional Series A to bring it to market. However, acquisitions in our space, as well as for PMA devices in general, have been very healthy. So we do project being able to become acquired at the end of the clinical stage. And so just to talk very quickly about the company, where we've come from and where we're going, we were founded in 2016 based on laboratory research, one patent in the pipeline, very little proof of concept, and in a short amount of time, we've been able to grow to 6, potentially now 7 patents, have gone through these programs like iCore, got an SBIR grant, have brought in some pre-seed funding, and have developed and tested a proof of concept device, and are looking to move very quickly into the clinic this year, and moving to an exit in 2023 and beyond. So in conclusion, we are a company that's developed an extremely high unmet need. We're poised for rapid growth. and have demonstrated a lot of excellent traction. So again, I'm Ben Holmes, we're Nanochon, and thank you very much.